Okay, so we've covered the dead man's turn when landing downwind on the runway, which is obviously something that we never ever want to do, ever, unless we have to, and we're going to die if we don't. So that's a good example of how to do the dead man's turn and stack the odds in your favour by giving yourself more airspeed, okay, and cutting the engine at simulated engine failure at 300 feet. We're now going to see how high we can or how low we can go using that speeding technique in order to land the aircraft in the right direction, okay, into wind, which is obviously the safest option. But we need to be at a certain height in order to achieve this. So we're going to start at 500 feet with an engine failure, and we're going to try, including our 30-degree turn, okay, we're going to try to land in this direction on this runway. We're going to see if 500 feet will give us enough inertia and height to do that. Okay, fuel pump is on, fuel is selected, so both fuel tanks left and right are good. Okay, full power, brakes off, T's and P's all looking good. Everything's in the green, which is what we want. Bottom of the white arc, bottom of the green arc, back pressure, airborne, nose down, pick up speed. Do not allow the aircraft to climb away, because it might conk out, and then we can just settle it back down straight on the runway there, and everyone's happy. Okay, we're still less than 100 feet, we're about 50 feet off the runway. Okay, we are almost the top of the green arc now, we're hitting almost 120. Okay, I think it's safe to say that we're not going to be able to stop now. So we'll do that 30-degree turn. About there. And we'll raise the nose and we'll look to 500 feet. Chop the power at 500 feet. Okay, nose down. Not too far down. We want to trim the aircraft now for 70 knots. We're looking downwind, downwind. Have we got 70 knots yet? No. Trim, 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 more trim, more trim. Come on, 70 knots, 70 knots. Too slow, get the nose down, get the nose down, too slow. Okay. We're running downwind parallel to our runway. We don't want to get too low. We're down to 400 feet now. We're going far too slow. So we start turning towards our runway to get back onto it. We don't need to go all the way to the end. We can sort of pull on to the runway in the middle there somewhere, but we don't want to stall. So I'm not using any flaps. I've got a crosswind, 20 knot crosswind here to contend with. Okay, 60 knots. I'm still going too slow. 60 is still safe though, although I'm aiming for 70. 60 is still in my safety margin, and I'm trying to bring it round. Oh, we're getting low now. No flaps, none whatsoever, because I need the legs to get back to the runway, or I'm going to be on the grass. Okay, stall warner, boom, just made it at 500 feet. Okay, now I could have turned earlier, because you saw the actual landing run there wasn't much, so I could have turned a lot sooner and used a lot less of the runway, but obviously runway behind you is of no use to you, so it's down to the pilot at the time to consider whether he can do it or not. But it can be done, and I think as a student pilot, my best advice to you is get the flight simulator on your computer, get the VR headset, and practice and practice and practice over and over and over again engine failures, okay, on takeoff. This is one of the most critical things you need to know as a pilot. It really is. It's the best thing you can teach yourself. Thanks for watching. Okay, welcome back. We are at part 2 of engine failures on takeoff. Now, people often ask me what is the most dangerous part of the flight, of any flight, and in my opinion, I would say the takeoff is the most dangerous part. That's when your life is at most at danger. Now, when you're flying a Cessna 172 like this at the flying school, they'll teach you to climb out at 70 knots. So you're looking on your airspeed indicator, you're climbing at 70 knots, okay? Within the first 300 feet, you know, you have an engine failure at that point. You don't have any altitude. and you don't have any airspeed to speak of to do anything about it, which is why your flying instructor would always tell you to lower the nose and land ahead. Do not even attempt to turn round and land back on the runway behind you. So you've got two things, speed, and the other, and stack the odds in your favour. I'm going to show you a technique that I have developed. It's not something that I've thought of particularly. I've discussed it with other pilots, and I have actually tried it out, and it does work. So we've got to find a way of taking off that gives you more speed, okay, and more altitude, and puts you in a better position for doing that turn and landing back on. Okay, so I'm going to take the aircraft up to about 300 feet, and I'm going to cut the engine, and we're going to land back on. We're going to do that dead man's turn, okay, which should not be attempted by a student unless you're doing it in the simulator first. Okay, do it in the simulator, because it's not an easy technique until you know what you're doing. Okay, controls are full and free movement. What I'm going to do is I'm going to keep the aircraft low, and I'm going to let the speed build up, okay, until I'm looking at the end of the runway the whole time. And when I decide that I can no longer land back on the runway because I've run out of runway, I'm going to turn the aircraft 30 degrees to the right, okay, and then I'm going to start climbing, and I'm going to be climbing outside of the white arc. Okay, so I'm not going to be using flaps for this maneuver until I'm coming into land. Okay, follow me through, watch this. Power in. T's and P's are good. Let's go. Brakes off. Wind today, we've got 10 degrees from the left. Wind's doing 19 knots. Okay, we're in the green arc. We can get the aircraft airborne. Now we're going to lower the nose. So that speed is now going to really rapidly increase. And I'm looking at the end of the runway. Can I still land? Yes. Can I still land? Yes. Can I still land? Yes. Can I still land? Probably not, actually. I'm probably going to go off the end of the runway and through the fence. Okay, 30 degrees to the left. And we're now going to trade that speed for altitude. There's 300 knots. Engine has failed. Okay, nose down. Watch our airspeed. Watch our airspeed. Okay, we've got enough speed to compensate for the fact that we don't have the altitude that we need. Okay, now back on runway heading, back just above the white arc. Okay, we can level the wings, we can apply the flaps, because this is an emergency landing. We're right at the top of the, put all the flaps down, because we've got a 20 knot tailwind now, okay, which will take us all the way off the end of the runway if we're not careful. So we just land as normal. Boom. Okay, so there's two good ideas. More airspeed for takeoff, okay, and the 30-degree turn combination. Now, what I'm going to demonstrate is the dead man's turn, as a student pilot would have it, flying at 70 knots at 300 feet, and we're going to attempt the dead man's turn. Okay, now I'm obviously more experienced pilot than a student, but there's a very good chance that even I won't even make it. Okay, I might, but the one thing that happens when we turn the aircraft and we bank the aircraft and we start pulling back on the stick is we lose airspeed straight away and we lose height. Thanks for watching. Okay, welcome back. So knowing what we know now, a simulated challenge is the dead man's turn at 100 feet. Okay, but we have got a little bit of an advantage. We've got a 30 knot turn to our left, and we're at max power of about 115 knots. Okay, fuel is sufficient, fuel pump is on, and for some reason I've gone over there. I don't know why it did that. There we go. fuel tanks are selected to both. Right, flaps are up. Let's do it. Bottom of the green arc, back pressure, airborne, nose down. Ooh, wings are getting a bit choppy at the moment. Weather conditions are definitely deteriorating. Okay, T's and P's, all in the green. Accelerator, we've got 115 knots now. We are running out of runway. So we're going to turn 30 degrees now to the left, and then we're going to raise the nose and cut the power at 100 feet. Okay. 100 feet, chopped. Oh, full right rudder this time. Watch our airspeed, watch our airspeed, watch our airspeed, watch our airspeed. 70 knots, there we go. Lower the nose. No flaps, okay? None. $20 knot tailwind now. Okay? Don't care. Put all the flaps down. We've got a big balloon from the flaps, you see that? Great big balloon, as I would expect. Well, we just got it under control. We're on. Don't like 20 knot tailwinds with full flaps. Boom. Practice it, because it will give you so much more confidence when you get back in the aeroplane. Okay, but bear in mind, every situation is different. But it will give you confidence that this technique for takeoff, which is, I've been frowned upon a lot for doing this and showing this to students, because to be fair, students are not ready for this. Okay, they're not. It's a technique for a more advanced PPL to take on. Okay, thanks for watching. Let's go have some fun. As soon as you hear that, the stick has to go forward. And there's no flaps down whatsoever. Okay, that was clean. So I think in my next lecture I'll start talking about short takeoffs and landing techniques. STOL, S-T-O-L, short takeoff and landing techniques. Well, I hope you've enjoyed that. I hope you've learned something. As I said, don't do that in the real airplane. do it in the simulator, because you will find out what will kill you and what won't the safe way. Okay, highly recommend learning to fly in VR, even if you don't even want to spend money on a pilot's license. It's tremendous knowledge, and I love it. I can't get enough of it. Honestly, the 172 aeroplane is the best aeroplane in the world to learn to fly in. That's my opinion. Thanks for watching. Okay, so here we go. I've reset the altimeter to 0, but the wind's changed slightly. It's 230 at 20 knots now, and I'm going to practice something that's extremely stupid and should only be practiced in the simulator. Okay, because chances of actually doing this are remote, and I wouldn't recommend it. Okay, so we're going to try and trade airspeed for altitude and be able to land back on this runway on this heading after an engine failure at 100 feet. So I really want to get as much airspeed out of this kite as possible. Okay, flaps are up, definitely up. Okay, I've got sufficient fuel. Fuel pump is on, and for some reason I'm on the right hand tank. Let me just address that, because I always like to be on the, come on, turn. I didn't do that. I haven't changed it at all. There we go. So we're on both. Must be on both. Right, here we go. Let's all or nothing. Okay. Airborne. Generating maximum power, maximum speed, because I need every drop of this to convert into altitude. Okay, running out of runway. Turn onto 30 degrees to the left. Okay, raise the nose, 100 feet, bang. Full left rudder, keep the nose down, keep the nose down. Oh, this is madness. Absolute madness. But I managed to trade that airspeed for about 200 feet. I've still got full left rudder in. I'm not banking the aircraft, you notice that? It's not banking. Come on, we can make it to the tarmac. Come on, we can do it, we can do it. We can do it, we can do it. Boom. We're on. So the point I'm making with the whole of this lecture is that if you use the technique where you keep the aircraft low on the runway and with full power engaged, okay, that aircraft is going to accelerate much faster than 70 knots. You're going to give it full. I got it up to just under 120, probably about 115 knots, and we've used the entire runway, okay, to build up that speed, that inertia, that momentum. Because once we turn on our 30 degrees and we start to raise the nose and we're starting to climb, we can trade that speed for altitude, and we need altitude in order to achieve our objective, okay, because we really don't want to be landing downwind unless we can help it. But landing downwind is what I'm going to do again now, just to show you for the last time. I will show you that that can actually be achieved, although it should not be achieved by a student pilot, okay, don't even try it. This is an advanced technique that you need to practice a lot in the simulator. Thanks for watching.